Look, thank you very much, Peter. Obviously, thanks for having us. Thanks for having us along today. Just, I guess, by way of background, myself and Piers are the co-founders and joint CEOs of Payright. We set the business up a number of years ago, really off the back of what we felt and understood to be limited support for buy now, pay later in the higher price point end of the market for bigger ticket transactions, larger purchases, which of course where we specialise. We've both got an extensive background in consumer lending and finance more broadly, which is really what prompted us to get involved in the business, albeit coming from different sides of the coin. I look after the enabling side of the business, so legal, compliance, tech, dev, finance as well. Piers looks after the growth side of the business, customer service, collections, sales and marketing as well. It's really that complementary skill set, along with the awareness that higher price point buy now, pay later was considerably underserviced, is really what prompted us to get involved in the business. We've obviously seen an explosion in demand for buy now, pay later. It's a concept that is increasingly well known and well understood. But we're the first to come to market that specialise in transactions over $1,000, and that's our key point of difference. We listed on the ASX towards the back end of last year, the 23rd of December. Fast forward to where we are today, we've seen significant and ongoing and sustained growth over the last 12 months, and that growth really accelerating into the current quarter now that things are starting to open up again, and hopefully all going well, touch wood, trading restrictions and lockdowns very much being a thing of the past. But equally, being high price point, our product extends beyond what is understood to be core retail, and you can see on the page here, retail is an important and rapidly growing vertical for us. Buy now, pay later is traditionally, or historically, let's call it, been seen as a retail point of sale offering. And for us, again, you can see on the page here, represents about 35% of the book. But again, being high price point, we've got merchants that extend well beyond retail to other core areas like home improvement, health and beauty, photography, education, and automotive as well, aftermarket automotive, all of which has seen really good, strong, sustained growth over the past few years, and again that growth very much accelerating into the current quarter and beyond. Run rating now at around 135 million in terms of annualized GMV. That's gross merchandise value. So basically the total dollar value of all credit extended through to the end customer. Over 60,000 customers on the books, and rapidly approaching around 4,000 merchants as well. And like I mentioned, every quarter outpacing the previous. But I'm going to pause there and pass the call over to Piers just to step through the application channels and the competitive landscape in a bit more detail. Piers.
Thanks, Myles. So look, on this page here, you can see how the Payright product has been designed with bigger ticket purchases and solutions that are in mind to really serve those varying needs of the businesses that we work through. So Payright customers can be onboarded into our platform in 4 different ways. First and foremost, they can come in store, directly work with our merchant partners in store in conjunction with them to reinforce that consultative nature of those industries that we service. But customers can also apply online using our e-commerce functionality, which is very important for those online merchants that have shopping cart technology. And earlier this year, of course, we launched the Payright app, which allows customers to register for Payright ahead of time and to also complete an express checkout function using a QR code process. Finally, and perhaps uniquely to us, customers can also apply via a process that's been developed to reach those merchants in the trade service industry, and that really means by embedding a code or a link directly into a quote or an invoice that's generated from those merchant partners as well. Just over the page here, you can see Myles did chat earlier around that key point of difference around our speciality in bigger ticket, larger transaction sizes. But this page here really does highlight how Payright fills the gap in the market for customers that are wanting to use BNPL for those higher price point items. So, I guess with the growing awareness and the demand for buy now, pay later, it's perhaps not surprising to see a number of new entrants that have entered into the market more recently, including enterprise businesses such as CBA and even PayPal. However, as this page sort of illustrates, with the majority of those buy now, pay later providers really focused on that micro end of the market, it's perhaps we feel that we've demonstrated that there's a significant opportunity, which with much less competition than what it is across that micro ticket end of the market. So I guess that, coupled with a sector that's growing 32% annually, really positions Payright quite favourably to capitalise on that unique competitive advantage that we spoke about. I'm going to hand the call back over to Myles now, who's going to take through some of the momentum that we've been seeing more recently. Back over to you, Myles.
Yeah, thank you. So obviously we've spoken a fair bit about that growing awareness of and demand for buy now, pay later, particularly on larger transaction sizes, bigger ticket items, and you can certainly see that that very much translating in the growth that we've seen across all key measures of performance, without every quarter significantly outpacing the previous. We spoke earlier about the GMV, and you can see there we've now had 5 consecutive quarters of GMV growth, culminating in the September quarter, which was our biggest ever quarter, of 27.6 million, and up 72% compared to the prior year period. Likewise, our gross receivables are well north of 80 million and fast approaching the 100 million. That's in both Australia and New Zealand. I should also mention we're operating out of New Zealand as well. Total customer numbers, we did touch briefly on before, well north of 60,000 customers on the Payright platform, very much fueled by a lot of what Piers described earlier, the launch of the app, the ability for customers to go in there and get pre-approved on purchases, along with our express in-store checkout. We also recently launched our first direct-to-consumer offering, our bill smoothing product, which effectively gives customers the ability to smooth household bills, and all those things have been incredibly well received, and again, really driving that growth in customer numbers. Likewise, our merchant stores, we've got well north of 3,500 merchants on the platform, and significantly adding to that every month, every quarter. Piers will touch shortly on some of the bigger merchants that are on the Payright platform. Just briefly over the page, and just touching very briefly on the revenue and the revenue recognition profile. We do spend a little bit of time on this in dialogue that we have with the market and the investment community, because it is quite distinctly different to that of the micro ticket end of the market, in that we defer and recognise revenue over the life of the loan, which we see as a significant benefit associated with our point of difference being, again, higher price point, and therefore longer term, in that we've got guaranteed revenue already effectively booked up for future periods. And you can see that real acceleration in the revenue recognition profile illustrated on the bottom left-hand side of the page here, with the 2 most recent quarters, the June and the September quarter, seeing 14% quarter-on-quarter revenue growth. And again, that real hockey stick style acceleration of that revenue certainly being carried into the current quarter. We recently put an announcement out last week, I think it was, with the ASX, that spoke to our October number, which was our biggest number by some margin in terms of GMV growth. And again, we're already seeing that well and truly carry into the month of November. Other point worth just touching briefly on around the revenue recognition is the yield. We're considerably more yieldy, if you like, than the broader sector, sitting at around 14%. So that's revenue as a percentage of GMV at around, like I say, 14%, compared to around 3 or 4% for the broader sector, which again is a product of the considerably less congested nature of buy now, pay later on bigger ticket items, along with that revenue recognition profile. And you can see the final bullet point there. We've got circa 15 million already sitting there in revenue earned from prior period lending activity that has not yet been recognised. And for context, our full year revenue FY21 was 12.2 million. So to have 15 million there, we didn't write another cent in volume, didn't write another cent in GMV. That's clearly a big number to be recognised already in future periods. That's guaranteed future income. Piers, back over to you to talk to some of the merchants on the platform.
Thanks, Myles. So look, yeah, this page just takes a bit of a close look at those merchants and the partners that have joined the platform, and that's really led to that 41% increase in merchant store counts over the year. And worth noting, of course, that Payright's now available in close to 4,000 merchants across Australia and New Zealand. And noting also, of course, that we have hundreds more that are joining the platform each quarter. And our merchant strategy really has been to pursue those merchant and partners with those transaction values that suit our point of difference, with recent partnerships including businesses like Massport, a leading outdoor power equipment manufacturer, Service Seeking, one of Australia's largest trade search marketplaces, and also businesses like Mint Payments and FinPay. But also we work with a number of prospective merchants across those lighthouse brands, across those key points of difference of ours, and businesses like that include the O'Brien Group, Stratco, Australian Outdoor Living, Bev Marks, Regal Sleep, Godfrey's, and many more that you can see on the page here. And I guess the common theme that we find across all of these merchants is these businesses align with that transactional size that we cater to, that larger and more considered purchases, of course, being the key speciality of Payright. Just onto the final page here. Given the competitive advantage across the rapidly growing sector, we do feel that we are uniquely positioned to innovate and to grow in the near term. And just as a bit of a snapshot in terms of the focus for us in that near term, we are dedicated to attracting additional strategic partnerships and lighthouse brands with many that are in the pipeline at the moment. With the use of the Payright app that we spoke about earlier on, and equally the soon to be released tap and go technology, which is going to turbocharge the customer numbers that we're looking at working with, and really put Payright in the hands of every single consumer. But we're also focused on enhancing our fraud dedication, needing the credit decisioning tools. And probably the final point here is further optimizing our funding costs and really providing a commitment to providing a clear pathway to profitability, which is really important for us. So hopefully it gives a bit of a snapshot as to where we're headed, and this concludes the formal part of the presentation. So certainly on behalf of myself and Myles and the whole Payright team, we thank you for listening and look forward to any questions that you may have.